What is most why the F do you know that fact? Hentai frequently depicts monsters having sex with women because of Japanese pornography laws. Sex between a man and a woman is porn and considered indecent, but sex between a human and an alien monster does not fit the definition, so it gets by. Dolphins have been known to tear the heads off fish and use their corpses as cock sleeves to masturbate. They also chew pufferfish to get high. You can substitute blood for eggs in any recipe. 65 grams of blood can be used in place of one regular egg. If you feel the need to stab someone, stab oranges. They're the same consistency as human flesh. Edit. Thank you to all the doctors, nurses, and tattoo artists who replied to this. A friend of my dad's randomly told me this when I was a kid, and I had so many questions. 1 horsepower equals about 300 duck power. An average male or duck can carry 250 grams or 0.25 kilograms. 1 HP equals 75 kilograms vertically. 1 meter per second. 75 kilograms. 0.25 kilograms equals 300. Thinking logically, you need 300 ducks lifting 0.25 kilograms in the same direction to equal 1 HP. I'm sure everyone has seen that thread of someone making up a duck power conversion scale, but because I have nothing else to do with my life, I figured out the actual conversion. If you shake jangle your keys at a moth, it will do a backflip. It's a defense mechanism. I broke my collarbone and had to have physical training to strengthen it. They had me squeeze some equipment to measure my grip strength. I hit 140 pounds. He said, "Holy crap. That's great. You know, it only takes 50 pounds to strangle someone." My first question was, why the F do you know that? The kangaroo is the only animal whose testicles are located above his penis. As for why I know this, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole one day and found a video which answered all the questions I didn't know I had about the pouches that female kangaroos have for their babies. At one point, the guy who made the video, who's American, was feeling around trying to find the pouch in a kangaroo. He couldn't find it, but commented that something felt weird. Later, he was talking to a local who shared that wonderful nugget of information, and suddenly it all made sense what he was feeling that felt so weird. I have more weird tidbits about kangaroo generalist, by the way, but that one is definitely my favorite. Of course, it's upside down. They're in Australia. A sock over a baseball bat is a really effective home defense weapon. If they grab the bat, the sock will make the bat slip out of their grasp, and you can continue beating them until they get out. Fidel Castro loved dairy so much that he invested in trying to breed a cow that could survive in the climate of Cuba and still produce a lot of milk. He failed over and over for years, until one day a cow that was exactly to his specifications. She produced obscene, record-breaking amounts of milk even for a regular cow and could live in Cuba's sweltering climate. There were regular updates on her health in the Cuban national newspaper, and he loved her so much that when she died, he erected a huge marble statue of her in her honor. During a long FBI undercover sting operation to uncover corruption in the Cleveland PD, the FBI used a t-shirt factory as a front for an illegal gambling operation. Not only did they turn a profit with the t-shirt company, but there are a few companies and bars walking around with t-shirts made by the FBI, including the Cleveland PD's softball team. Bruh, most of these facts are about animal penises. Otters hold hands while they sleep so they don't float away. They also rape baby seals to death and keep going for 2 hours until the heat is gone from the body. In Jaisalmer, Rajasthan, India, female infanticide is completely common. As soon as the unwanted baby's born, they pack her nose and mouth with sand and bury her under a tree. Then tie a small white flag dragging the tree as a makeshift memorial, explained to me, very matter-of-factly, with little emotion, by a mother who had suffocated and buried 2 daughters before having a son. Yay, no dowry to save up for. If you are a constipated biological female, you can insert a finger in your vagina and push down to force poop out. Frogs can't throw up like we do. If they upchuck, they actually spit their entire stomach along with its contents outside their body, and then gather it up with their webbed hands and stuff it back inside. Also, they can swallow. When a frog eats something, you'll see their eyes retract for a second, because they use their eyes to push their food down their throat. On the television show Reba, one of the characters played by actress Scarlett Palmer was battling an eating disorder and left the show, with the full support of the cast, to get treatment. After completion of treatment and gaining some weight back, she quietly returned to the show. The only mention of it was upon her return to the show, where she was asked, "Where have you been?" To which she responded, "I went to get something to eat." I've never watched a moment of Reba, yet somehow that stupid fact that an ex-GF taught me 18 years ago has stuck in my head. Sucking your own dick feels more like sucking a dick than getting your dick sucked. More organ transplants are done on holiday weekends because there are more drunk driving accidents. Source: received double lung transplant on Labor Day. If you squeeze a male's testicles hard enough, the adrenaline overload can kill him. Do with that information as you wish. If you need to hide a body, the best way to do it is to remove the hands and teeth to prevent identification. If they can't identify the body, they can't possibly link the victim to you since they don't know who they are, and dispose of them elsewhere. You can also pour yogurt into the anus to help speed up the decomposition process, further preventing identification. If you must bury the body, make sure to bury them vertically, as aerial searches will look for disturbed ground about 6 feet or so long. Also, bury a dead animal about a foot on top of the dead body so when cadaver dogs will alert, they will find the dead animal and the searchers will assume it was a false positive, then move on. When they filmed Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in Europe, there weren't enough little people to play the parts of the Oompa Loompas. You see, it had only been about 25 years or so since World War II and Hitler exterminated most little people think they were inferior, so they had to bring them in from other parts of the world. Porn industry deliberately hires smaller actresses with dainty hands to make dicks look bigger in comparison. If you want to get away with murder, inject someone with a large amount of potassium, which will lead to a heart attack, because potassium is a natural chemical and everyone has different levels of it in their body. It will be ruled as natural causes. Bleach and rubbing alcohol makes chloroform. If you fill up a Coke bottle lid with sperm, it would be enough little tadpoles to repopulate the Earth 2.5 times, if every single one of them were to reach an egg. A raccoon can fit into a hole 4 inches wide. Your rectum is on average 2.5 inches wide, but can stretch to 8 inches wide without any permanent damage. A raccoon can literally crawl up your asshole. Don't ever underestimate raccoons. That little plastic bit on the end of a shoelace is called an aglet. Second cousins share as much DNA as total strangers, so it's biologically alright to have kids with them. Ethically is obviously up for debate. The astronauts on board the Challenger survived the explosion in the shuttle. They likely survived for a few terrifying seconds, while the module slowly depressurized and suffocated them to death. It's also theorized the cabin pressure could have been lost so slowly they may have survived almost 3 minutes before hitting the water. Ducks have valid of evolution based around rape. They have corkscrew genitals. The female has a compartment she can engage to store semen from unwanted mates. To cook chicken in one slap, it would require said slap to have a velocity of 3,725.95 miles per hour.